Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today we are going to be getting into a new release thriller and maybe some other type of books vlog. I want to read some of my most anticipated releases from late 2024 and obviously early 2025 as well. I have kind of like a loose TBR, kind of just like a grouping of books that I have available to choose from. I have the new Lisa Jewell, I have the new TJ Newman, I have the new Lane Fargo, this book which I'm already a little bit into. I have the new Gabino Iglesias that just came out at the end of 2024. So I have a lot of stuff that I can pick and choose from. I really want to be mood reading this year, so I might not have super set TBRs for my reading vlogs. But I'm really excited to get into some more like mood reading. I think it will lead to a better reading year overall and higher ratings if I read just purely what I'm in the mood for rather than trying to stick to a stringent TBR for a vlog. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. As I mentioned, I'm already into my first book of the vlog. I started this last night on my Patreon reading sprints. This is a thriller that came out at the end of last year. It's called The Night of the Storm. It's by Nishita Parekh. And I heard about this from Ashley Winstead, actually. She's one of my favorite thriller authors, and she was posting about this one when it came out. And she is clearly based in Texas as well, because this thriller is following the fictional account of a family going through Hurricane Harvey. And yes, it's a survival thriller where we are kind of working against the elements, the water's rising. If you know Houston, you know it floods. If you lived through Hurricane Harvey, which me and my family did, I was in college in Austin at the time, but my family was in Houston. My best friend ended up losing her car. So many people I knew had their houses flood. It was just complete devastation and really, really scary. So the natural disaster of it all is definitely a thrilling element of the story. But beyond that, we are following the intricate family dynamics of this family. It's a main couple and their little daughter, and then the husband's brother and his wife, and the wife's sister and her son. And the sister is recently divorced, and we're mostly following from her perspective throughout the book as she is trying to figure out what is going on with these like awkward, tense family dynamics. There's a really great metaphor between what is happening outside with the storm and what is happening in the house with the family. We've already had one death happen. I'm not going to give away if that was due to natural consequences or murder, partly because I don't have it all quite figured out yet. It's really easy to read. Like I said, I'm liking the writing style a lot, and the family dynamics are really interesting. All of the characters in the story, except for one, are Indian. So they talk about the immigrant experience, what it's like to come from India and then start to acclimate here, and kind of like different trajectories, stereotypically, obviously, but from the author's perspective. I'm trying to figure out at this point who killed the person who died or what possibly led to their death. And I'm also waiting on the edge of my seat to see how they're going to make it through the storm, because they were supposed to evacuate, but some things transpired where they didn't. I think a lot of people have underhanded motives, ulterior situations, and secrets going on, and I cannot wait for those to be exposed. So I'm almost like exactly halfway through, and at this point, I'm liking it. Like, I really have no complaints, other than it's just not the most like emotionally connected, super invested thriller for me. Like, if I put this book down and I never picked it up again, I don't think it would really be nagging at me like, oh my god, what's happening to that family? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like a thriller. Although I will say I really do like the character that we're mostly reading from her perspective, because she's recently divorced. She talks a lot about like how people can project on you in your family and your friends and whatever. A lot of people project their own relationship stuff on you post-divorce, which I've definitely experienced a lot in my real life relationships, and with people on the internet. It's absolutely wild. Like, I know based on how people react to me getting a divorce, I know exactly what's going on in their relationship, because the projection is actually crazy. Like, people tell on themselves by the way that they respond to what happens in your life. And yeah, the fact that that was talked about in here, I was like, yes, yes, yes. I literally shut the book and I was like, fuck yes, I love that she talked about that, because it is so real. So really great representation for that, and just like unconventional family dynamics, and definitely for the Indian experience in America. Oh my gosh, the sun just came out. It's been such a dreary morning, so I'm so happy to see the sun come out for just a little bit. But yeah, that's why I picked up this book in the first place, because it was storming so much last night on sprints that I was like, it's time for me to read The Night of the Storm. It was just the right vibes. I will probably get a little bit more into it today. I do have to get some work done, but I also have some like more like busy tasks that I need to do around the house. So I'm gonna try to find the audio so I can pop in the audiobook while I'm like doing laundry, dishes, and prepping dinner. I'm gonna make dinner for my boyfriend tonight. I was like, I want to cook for you. Like, what do you want? And he requested fried chicken. So I'm going to be making some fried chicken and mashed potatoes tonight, and I'm really excited about that. It feels like comfort food, and it's like a dreary day. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into that, and I'll let you know when I have more thoughts on The Night in the Storm. Hello vlog, I'm a bit into the morning. Boba is jingling, it's all happening, but I am about to take my Magic Mind and I wanted to do it with y'all. I absolutely love Magic Mind, especially going into the new year. I feel like there's so much pressure to improve, and sometimes those changes are just like short and not long lasting. You can get burnt out really easily if you try to implement a big change. And Magic Mind is something that always helps me maintain long-term mental wealth. And when I say mental wealth, I mean like investing in long-term lifestyle changes that help you maintain mental wellness. I feel like in the era of New Year's resolutions, that's really important. So I'm gonna take my Magic Mind real quick. So good. And I know some people have commented before you don't want to try Magic Mind because it tastes like matcha. It does have matcha in it. It is green. It doesn't really taste like matcha at all. I think it tastes more like a green juice, and it doesn't taste like a wellness shot. Like, I hate those like ginger cayenne shots. They're just too much for me. This is like a very neutral, just like fresh tasting shot. So it's really great, and it has amazing benefits to it as well. I really like that they don't like over promise anything. Everything is very real and backed up by the ingredients that are in the shot. And I actually do feel the benefits of it. It's like a slow release caffeine, which gives you energy throughout the day. It boosts immunity with the vitamins that are in here, and it lowers stress with ashwagandha and L-theanine. So little ingredients that have a big impact with these tiny changes of just like boosting your natural energy, boosting your natural immunity, all part of that bigger goal of mental wealth. I really do notice a difference day to day when I take Magic Mind versus when I don't. I feel like I'm just so much more on task, motivated, and energized to do what I need to do when I take a Magic Mind shot. And Magic Mind stands behind their goal of mental wealth with their dollar as well. I really, really like that they donate 5 cents for every bottle sold to mental health and to homeless homeless communities. So if you want to give to yourself in the new year, not with just a quick fix, but something that contributes to a much bigger of a longer term change, you can try out Magic Mind down below with my link, and you can actually get 45% off of your Magic Mind bundle with my code HaileyHJan. I wanted to jump in here and add, because I mentioned the bundle. The bundle includes the Magic Mind Sleep Elixir as well, which aids in relaxation and deepening sleep, which of course contributes to that overall feeling of mental wealth. So I will have that linked down below. Again, the code is HaileyHJan to get 45% off of your Magic Mind bundle. Thank you so much to Magic Mind for sponsoring this reading vlog. Good morning vlog. It is the next day. We had such a nice little night last night, and I did end up making progress in the Night of the Storm. I'm now at 85%. I only have about 50 pages left, and I really like the turn that the book has taken. I feel like the first half was just reading very family drama, fine, but giving nothing special. The second half, I feel like all that background is now coming into play, and it's definitely reading like a classic murder mystery, and just like the survival element with the hurricane is adding that like high stakes feeling. It kind of reminds me of An Unwanted Guest by Sherry Lapina, and I gave that book 5 stars. I think that's one of the like really great like Agatha Christie plays that's more modern. And one of the extra elements in An Unwanted Guest is the snowstorm that is trapping everyone in the house together with the murderer. Same kind of thing here, where the hurricane is trapping them all together, and they're all family, so everyone has these very intricate reasons to off each other. I literally have no idea who the killer is. I have 2 theories, but I think one of them kind of just got disproven, so I'm gonna rock with my other one. We will see if I get it right when I finish this up later, but for now we are headed out to brunch, so off we go. You can come along with us via B-roll. Hello vlog, I am back from brunch. We had such a nice little time, and actually right when I got home I was super excited to finish The Night of the Storm. I had to know if my theory was right, and it was. I know. This has been happening to me with like every thriller that I've read in the last year. I feel like I'm predicting the killer. It is so rare for me to not predict what's happening, and I got a couple comments that were like, it's because when you're well read in the mystery thriller genre, you can just see all the signs inherently. So I feel like I am getting a little less enjoyment out of thrillers recently just because of that reason, but I don't want it to reflect in my ratings. I want to keep my ratings consistent. Like when I was fresh into the thriller genre, or when I was reading my first thrillers that got me into reading, those are probably skewed higher than how I would rate thrillers now, but I want to kind of keep it a little bit consistent. Like I feel like if I read this book a few years ago, I would have given it an easy 4 stars. The reason why I'm conflicted now is because I did guess it, so I want to give it a 3.5, and this is kind of like my qualm with a rating system, is like for y'all, for the purpose of you guys taking my recommendations, I want to kind of be objective in some way, but also someone's personal ratings are their personal skewed opinions based off all of their own bias and things that they have going on. So a part of me wants to give this 3.5, a part of me wants to give this 4 stars, a little part of me wants to give it 3.75 because that feels most accurate, but it also feels kind of annoying. You know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna be annoying. I don't care. I'm gonna give it a 3.75 because even though I guessed it, I really did like it. I want to acknowledge in some way for my personal rating that I did guess it. Well, not kind of like dissuading anyone from reading the book, because I don't know, I hear 3.5 and I'm like, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to prioritize that recommendation. I hear a 4-star and I want to run out and read it. And I do think you guys should run out and read this book. Not only is it a great kind of standard murder mystery with a little bit of a modern twist on it, but it has beautiful, beautiful, diverse representation. I've literally never read a thriller about an Indian family with 99% Indian characters. There's literally only one white person in the book. I loved hearing about the cultural elements just kind of like casually, you know? It wasn't like this book is about Indian culture, but it was just nice to see different culture represented in like a casual suburban house setting. I love the family drama. I love the writing style. I love the nature elements and how what was happening with the storm was a metaphor for the family. It's not like the most shocking or fast-paced book, but if you like a mystery and family drama, you are probably going to like this. Hopefully you don't guess it like I did, but like I said, even though I did, I still enjoyed it. Next up, I have a few more hours just to chill at home before my plans tonight. My little friend group is going out to this bar where they have board games. It's like a board game bar, so I'm really excited to go play some games tonight. But before I head out, I have a couple hours to start a new book. I think I'm gonna do another thriller. I'm supposed to read Breaking the Dark by Lisa Jewell. That's what I put in my TBR, but I heard Deja talking about Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh on my sprints, and she made me want to read that book so bad. She is so into it. She's like flipping pages and telling me what's going on in the tea and all of that, and I'm like, this sounds like a book I want to read. So I might go try to find that. Hello vlog, I have just been reading with the puppies. We started outside, but it got way too cold. I am 85 pages into Kill for Me, Kill for You now, and wow, this thriller is so good. I should have known it was going to be good just knowing Deja's reaction to it, and also she mentioned that this was one of Kat's from Cat Chat's favorite books of last year, and those are two girls I trust with my life for thriller recommendations. They did not lie. This is so good. I'm so sucked in, honestly. I really want to see my friends, but I also am kind of bummed that I have to leave away from this book because I really want to keep reading it. It is so good. It's basically a strangers on a train situation where two women who had horrible things happen to their children meet up and agree to kill the other's perpetrator that killed their child, and we are trying to see how that is going to play out, but there's a lot of mystery to it. There's also a second plot line besides these two ladies where we're following this woman who was attacked in her home, and we're also following the detectives who are trying to catch her attacker, who's referred to as the Prowler, and also Mr. Blue Eyes, and he is this guy that just breaks into people's houses and kills women, and it's literally terrifying. I don't know why. I usually do not get scared at this type of shit, but the description of this man and the way that he goes about his attacks are so cold and clinical, and it's scary. I'm also really intrigued in the like good for her, like women getting revenge without getting caught plot line. I am surprisingly really liking the like gritty New York setting. Usually, I don't know, sometimes a New York setting kind of feels like played out to me, and it gets like real sensationalized where like if you've been in New York, it doesn't always feel like it's described in a book. I feel like this captures a New York setting really accurately and really well. I'm really sympathetic to all of our characters. I'm just really liking everything about it, and it's reading super fast. It has a good thrilling pace to it, which is what I was kind of missing from The Night of the Storm. Like, it definitely had a more slow, like, mystery family drama pace. Nah, girl, this is a thriller. So I'm into it, but I fear my boyfriend's about to be in my house in like a minute to pick me up. So I got to get ready to go. Good morning vlog. It is the next day and I'm already ready to go, ready to head out. I actually am meeting up with my friends from college that I haven't seen in months, and we're gonna have a little brunch, lunch thing. Lots of going out this weekend. I'm gonna have to be really chill and recharge before the week at some point. I'm excited to go see them. As for Kill for Me, Kill for You, I am over 100 pages in. I just read a few pages last night when I got back from the game bar, and we have gotten to the actual scene where they ask each other to kill for each other. It was a really good scene and I was falling asleep and I was like, I really wish that I could stay up and binge this, but obviously I knew I had to wake up today, so I didn't. But I'm excited to get back into it when I'm back home. For now, we brunch.
I mean, I definitely have a type. But I don't think it's that. It's like a man who has a beard or a mustache and glasses, and everything else, I will find out later.
An English teacher.
I want him to be like an archaeology professor who has like
A lumberjack on the side.
who's like who like his dream is to live in the woods as a lumberjack, and he wants to raise like a farm of like rescue dogs.
Yeah.
But like when we're out in public, he's like
Oh my god! You guys, I literally just got home from brunch and then I went to Whole Foods after. I had to stop by and get some stuff because I have to make something for a dinner party I'm going to tomorrow. And I met one of you! People never come up to me. I don't know why, but I always get comments after the fact that are like, oh my god, I saw you, but I didn't want to say anything, or I think I saw you at this book thing or this bookstore or whatever. I met one of you in Whole Foods. Thank you so much for saying hi. You were literally the sweetest ever, and I was shook to my core. Say hi if you're gonna be nice to me, because that was like the best thing ever, and I'm just so grateful to know y'all and to know that you're there. It's so intangible, like I'm just speaking to this camera, but then when I see you in person, I'm like, oh my god, you're literally the cutest. I'm obsessed. So that was the best thing ever. And as I mentioned, I have to make something. I'm gonna make little mini lemon cheesecakes. And I'm also gonna read my book. And it's just gonna be a wonderful Sunday afternoon. So when I have a reading update, I will let you know. Okay, Steve ate a little. Steve, I fear, oh my god, the 50% twist, the 50% twist. I'm shaking. I need to make this goddamn cheesecake. The dogs are freaking out. Everyone's freaking out. I can't make cheesecake at a time like this. I know. I don't know what to do. I have to keep reading this book, y'all. I'm shook. I'm shook. I'm shook. I'm at the halfway point, and the way all of these separate plot lines are moving, it's insane. I need to know what is about to happen because that twist just shook me and turned the whole book on its head. And now I don't know who is who or what is what or where is what. I don't know shit about shit. I'm loving this. I am gonna keep reading this and put off everything that I had to do today before I go to my night plans, because I fear I haven't been this sucked into a thriller in a while. So it's time to give it my attention. Yes, pink and green. So damn coded. Sabri, what are you doing here? Hello vlog, good morning. I had such a good night last night. I ended up finishing out the cheesecakes. I got to see my friend last night and finally give her her Christmas gift. We went to dinner. We did a little slow flow candlelight yoga class after. It was so good. And I was so ready to just have a relaxing night when I got home. So I ended up diving back into Kill for Me, Kill for You. And I only have like 60 pages left. I had to put the book down last night because I was just getting overwhelmed with the twists. They are so well paced. There were 2 twists in the last like chunk of 100 pages that I read, and they were just coming in at the perfect moment where I was like shocked. I feel like a lot of modern thrillers will leave all the twists until the end and then give you whiplash. And I've said a few times when reviewing recent thrillers, like I do not like the whiplash twists. I need time to process it. And I feel like that is exactly what Mr. Steve is giving me. He's given me time to process. So when the next twist hits, it's with so much more impact. So after the second twist that I read last night, I was like, oh my God, I gotta put this down. I gotta take a break. I'm so excited to get into it today and finish it out. Hello vlog, it is a little bit later. Oh my God, this ending was wild. At no point did I have an inkling of a clue where this was gonna go or how the story was going to unfold. It was masterfully done. I am gonna be annoying with my rating again. I'm sorry, please bear with me. It's just my opinion, don't hate me. But I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's almost a 5-star, okay? I really did get that like 5-star feeling that I look for multiple times while I was reading this book. It was so fast paced, it was so exciting, so twisty, I didn't want to put it down. The ending just felt a little cartoon villain to me, and it kind of took me out of the story. The way that The Night of the Storm wrapped up and the ending was so polished and all the threads were tied up in the exact way that I would want them to be for every character to get their arc. I wish that kind of ending was in here, but it was just very cartoon villain, and I liked how things ended for one character, but the other 2 that we were following, I was kind of unsatisfied with. Now, I know a thriller doesn't always seek to satisfy you. Sometimes it seeks to shock you and terrify you and be a little bit mysterious or sinister. And I think that was definitely the intent, which I totally see. Overall, I loved the execution of this book. The ending just wasn't perfectly aligned with what I wanted to satisfy my character arcs for the people that I built up in my head that I got pretty attached to, especially as all these crazy things were happening to them. With all that said, I really highly recommend this book, but know that if you are craving like realism in your thrillers, this might not hit for you. And I'm really liking the fast-paced energy here. I have the audio for Worst Case Scenario by TJ Newman, so I think I'm gonna start that. This is a recently released thriller. TJ Newman does books about surviving incidents in a plane, like plane crashes. I really loved Falling and Drowning. I believe I gave them 5 stars and 4.5 stars respectively. I always love the way that TJ Newman makes a very endearing cast of characters that you're rooting for to survive. Worst Case Scenario, it's on a whole other level. We are not just following the crew and passengers of a plane crash. We're following a plane that is falling out of the sky over a nuclear power plant, which is just wild, okay? The pilot has a heart attack and the plane starts crashing out of the sky, falls into a power plant. It's a nuclear explosion, and basically it's akin to Chernobyl. I don't know how we're gonna follow such a huge disaster on such a global scale in a short little thriller. Like, the audio is only 8 hours long, but I guess I will get into it and let you guys know my thoughts. Holy shit. Well, I'm into worst case scenario, and I fear it's an apt title. This is very much the worst case scenario. We jump in right in the middle of the action. The plane is actively going down. We don't spend any time on the plane, like falling and drowning. Basically, the majority of the book is set within the plane. That plane got wiped out, girl. That's not a spoiler. That happens less than a chapter in. And now we're following everyone from a little boy on the playground all the way up to the President of the United States as they handle the situation. It is fast paced. It is exciting. Already, I am in it. I am like feeling the high stakes nature of it all. I'm like, oh my God, like who is gonna survive this? Anyone? It feels like no one. Like I am in it. It is horrifying. But I will say there's a lot of like nuclear science and like, sir, if the reactor and the blah 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 blah. And honestly, when I'm hearing anything science, nuclear, anything, my brain is going la 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 la. I'm not taking it in. It's going in one ear and out the other. So I hope knowing the science is not pertinent to understanding the stakes of the book. I'm hoping that it's going to be more about the human lives at stake rather than the science of it all. We will see. I'm 20% in, but I gotta head to work. And right after work, I'm going to a little dinner party. So come along with me. Good morning, vlog. It is obviously the next day. I have a reading update for you. I am now 60% of the way through worst case scenario. Obviously, this is reading very, very fast, and it is riveting. I actually was talking about this book last night at our little dinner party because my friend's boyfriend is in flight school right now. He's actually on his way to being a pilot. So I was just kind of like getting his perspective of what he would do in this scenario. And he was like, obviously that's literally the worst case scenario. So that was kind of funny, but the book is wild. I would say I'm not as emotionally bought in as I was in Drowning and Falling, which is kind of weird because obviously the stakes are much higher, so you think that I would be more bought in, but there's less character development, there's less time getting to know the characters, whereas in the previous two books by this author, we are in this isolated setting. Mostly it's just like the characters waiting around to be rescued. And yes, it's very heart pumping and high stakes, but there's also a lot of like dialogue and conversation between the characters where we get to see their development and get to know them as people. That isn't really present in worst case scenario. It's definitely much more plot driven than it is character driven. And if y'all know my reading taste at all, then you know I am a very character driven reader. I care more about the characters driving the story than the plot. There is one kind of like plot line that I feel very, very, very invested in, and that is like this group of rescuers has broken off, and instead of going to their post where they're supposed to go, they are refusing to leave this little boy who is trapped in a burning car over a bridge. Yeah, he's just one little boy, but like, what are we gonna do? Leave this one little boy? And they're basically doing whatever they can to try to save him. Those are the chapters where I feel the most invested for sure. I also really like the chapters with the president and kind of like getting to know the political climate, which is different for me. I feel like I'm usually not very interested in that kind of stuff. There's a few other plot lines going on. It's kind of a lot to keep track of, but it's moving at a really nice pace where I feel like everything is interconnected very well and I don't have trouble keeping things straight. I am eager to see what goes on here. Obviously, we're counting down throughout the entire book to 0 hour. What's gonna happen there? How are we gonna end this? I don't know. Is it just gonna be like desolation? I'm kind of worried about that. I feel like this was a very difficult story to plot out. So while I'm kind of like marveling at the plotting, I do think it's really great. I'm just not that kind of plot driven reader. So feeling kind of mixed about it, but still enjoying my reading experience. I'm going to get into my work day, which luckily I have most online sessions. So I'm going to be able to get some stuff done done around the house, pop in my audiobook while I do that, and I will let y'all know when I have an update for you. Hi vlog, I have just been working away. I am happy to be home because I've gotten some stuff done around the house, and the audio was so good for that because I did not want to stop listening to Worst Case Scenario. I actually finished the entire book and I'm gonna go ahead and give it 4 stars. I was really struck by the feeling of community reading this book. I actually wish that I had a physical copy so I could have highlighted some things. There were some really beautiful instances of just like human beings coming together for each other, which, like, how accurate is that? I don't know. I would like to think that it's really accurate and true to life, but sometimes it feels a little hopeless. But this book overall felt very hopeful, even if it's not accurate. Just the idea of like people coming together to try to prevent the worst case scenario was very inspiring, and it was like a thrilling, fast-paced ride, but it was also about the community. It continued to be more plot driven than character driven in my opinion, but there was an emotional element that kind of kicked in. I liked following the ride of it, but it's probably nothing that I'm gonna keep thinking about after today because it was just kind of like entertaining, fun thriller vibes, and I don't think it needs to be anything more than that. So I really enjoyed it. 4 stars. And we are on to our last book of the vlog, which is going to be House of Bone and Rain by Gabino Iglesias. This is kind of like an S.A. Cosby-esque kind of thriller where there's this group of friends and one of their mothers is murdered, so they set out to get revenge and kill the people that killed his mom. And I'm very excited to get into this because I love a revenge story. I love like another fast-paced audiobook moment, which is what this is gonna be. Hopefully I'll just continue my like productive around the house vibes, popping in another audiobook. I think today is going to be listen to fast-paced thrillers and get my life together, and I'm not gonna lie, I love those vibes. Hello vlog. Clearly it's much later after work. I had a pretty long day, but I did end up getting into House of Bone and Rain. I feel like I'm very mixed on the setup because we jumped in really quickly, but I didn't feel any emotional weight because these traumatic things were happening to characters I didn't know yet, if that makes sense. Like, I was not fully ingratiated to the characters before the violence started, and the characters are really hard to tell apart. It's this group of boys, and I keep forgetting who's who other than the one who's gay. By the way, this is set in Puerto Rico, which I really do like that setting, and just like feeling like I'm there and feeling like a more cultural side of Puerto Rico rather than like, I don't know, what I've seen from people traveling on Instagram. Like, it feels like a more like true to life depiction, obviously. So I'm liking the setting. Characters, plot, yes, it does read like a very thrilling, action-packed, like S.A. Cosby-esque novel. I would say if you like S.A. Cosby, you're probably gonna like this plot. Already there's been quite a few like deaths, so I'm like, where are we going to go from here? It's gonna go off the rails. I just feel like I need to know the characters a little bit more, and this is kind of like the common issue that I have with a lot of thrillers, is that I need a lot of of depth of character development that I feel like I don't often get. So with something more plot driven, it's just probably not going to be as up my alley as something else. Just keep that in mind when you hear my ratings and reviews, especially if you're a more plot driven reader. But yeah, it's super late now, so I'm gonna go to bed, but I will probably listen to a little bit more of this as I'm like getting ready to go to bed, walking the dogs, etc. So I will give you an update in the morning. Good morning, vlog. It is the next day. Clearly, I have made so much progress in the House of Bone and Rain. Actually, there was a really exciting section of this book that I got to last night while I was getting ready for bed, and I like could not stop listening until I reached the end of that little sequence and I saw what was gonna happen. So that was really good. I really got into the plot. But as I was listening more this morning, let me see how far I actually got. I'm like 55% in, which is kind of crazy considering I started this less than 24 hours ago. It's moving really fast and I like the plot, but I kind of clarified why it's very difficult for me to tell some of the boy characters apart sometimes. And it's because I feel like they don't have their own value systems. Like I feel like they very easily like waffling. Like they very easily get pulled into each other's orbits and they're like, well, I'm just gonna do that because my brother is doing that. Oh, I'm just gonna do that because he's convinced me. And it's like, they are swayed very easily by their allegiance to each other, which I think is a good thing. Like I think that is a very clear part of the story, that community and chosen family and the connections between these boys are so strong that they allow their morals to be forgotten and swayed. And even if it's like horrifying for them in the moments to be perpetuating this violence, they're like, okay, I'm here, I've got myself here, it's because my brother, my bestie, whoever needs this vengeance and I'm gonna, I guess, just allow them to do it. It's a very like morally gray situation. There's a lot of like moral dilemma in here around like how far would you go for the people that you love? How much morally wrong would you allow those that you love to get away with just because they've been hurt? Will you absolve someone you love of a crime because you know the motivation for it? Like those kind of questions. And I'm really liking that. I just wish that I felt a deeper connection with the characters. Now we're getting more chapters from these random women in their lives, and I feel like I don't know them. Whenever they pop up, I'm like, Natalia, who really are you? And we also got random chapters from like women who are dealing with, I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's a speculative element to the story, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of like that, is it a demon or is it all human evil kind of thing? So there's a lot going on in the story. I'm kind of eager to see the threads come together and clarify everyone's individual character arcs, what the meaning of the speculative element is. Like, is it real? If they're going to enact this vengeance without reciprocation, and kind of like where everyone's moral standing is going to end up. So those are the questions that I have. I'm going to do some stuff around the house, get ready for the morning. When I have more thoughts, I will let you know. Oh, I also forgot to say there's also a hurricane in this book. Kind of weird that I read The Night of the Storm and there was so much like hurricane survival content, and obviously the hurricane outside was a metaphor for what was happening inside the house. Very similar thing in House of Bone and Rain. There was this huge hurricane that we're kind of in the aftermath of, and it's definitely a metaphor for what's going on in the plot. Okay, please ignore the fact that my makeup is half done and I look like the Crypt Keeper. I just had to update you guys because what the hell just occurred? I'm like 72% of the way through and I don't really like the turn that this just took. Maybe my expectations were not in the right place because I wanted like action, S.A. Cosby vibes, and it's like almost there, but there are a few things that are off that I'm just like, I feel like it lessens the impact of the human elements that I'm enjoying when these other things are emphasized, if that makes sense. I'm really trying to give information without giving spoilers here, but yeah, things just took a little bit of a turn and a twist that feels cartoonish and takes away from how invested I was beginning to get in this group of boys getting their revenge. We shall see, we shall see. Hello vlog, clearly I am ready for the day now and kind of ready to talk about this book. I don't know, I literally just finished it. I have really mixed thoughts and opinions, honestly, because I loved the ending. Like, it was a very satisfying, full circle, cathartic ending, and I liked where all the characters' arcs ended up, but the journey to get there was very fraught. I felt like I was on a roller coaster with this book. Like, things would happen, I'd be like, ooh, I love that, and then something else would happen and I'd be like, eh. Like, the speculative elements really did not connect for me. I didn't like it. I feel like it took away from the authentic connection that I was building with these human characters. I also did not like telling rather than showing that happened with a lot of our characters' arcs. While I enjoyed where they ended up, I think my biggest issue was that I didn't see that shift. I didn't get to see that trajectory just play out naturally. It was more like given to me, like spoon-fed to me a little bit. I didn't hate my experience reading this book. It was really thrilling, fast-paced, interesting. I think I'm gonna land on a 3-star. This is definitely more on the side of enjoyment than that like average 2.5 out of 5 rating. Overall, I enjoyed all the thrillers that I read in this video. My top recommendation is definitely Kill for Me, Kill for You. I freaking love that book. But also, if you're looking for something fast-paced and intense, Worst Case Scenario is great. House of Bone and Rain is great if you like speculative elements. And Night of the Storm was like very atmospheric, straightforward, family drama, murder mystery. I recommend all these books, so go and check them out. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to go down below and check out Magic Mind. I will have my link and my code for you guys. I love Magic Mind. You should totally check it out. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And of course, don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!